All right, cool.
All right, cool.
On your screen, Joe.
So before we begin, I just want to share something real quick. Okay. Now, can you guys see the slide that I have?
Yeah.
Okay. So for those who are in the first 1 or 2 meetings, I was thinking maybe we start thinking about the flow and the template of our team. So here is just an idea that I have in my mind. So if you look at the top left, you'll see what's called an external-internal pool. And what that is we have people from the outside of our team who wants to, contribute. If you go back to that forum and in the Slack channel, many people showed interest and they want to contribute. So these are the inputs, right? And also from internally from our team as well, right? So those information or those feedbacks will feed into the Scrum, the Scrum Master area, the zone, which is the yellow box, and that will be controlled by Shelley and Scott. So Scott, you have experience in donation campaign, running the campaigns from our first meeting. You can be the strategist in this, where you pick and choose what features that we need the most. And then while Shelley in the background manages all of those details, and then you and Shelley will distill those information down to the task, which is down at the turquoise color box. And the reason why we want to do that is we want to have one source of truth. So if a person doesn't understand this or that, they can come to either you or Shelley to get the truth, right? And also, and we also have one source of task, right? If you don't know what to do, if you're running out of jobs or whatever, you can always refer to that task block to find more work to do, right? And then also from there, you see the blue box down under, and that's where the coding begins, like the hackathon, all the designing, like the UI, UX, Firebase, just general coding. And from that point, we can also power grab people because the task has already been properly defined. They don't need to know what the purpose of doing that is. They can just help right away. And then through that, we can push the efforts to build that MVP. Yeah.
The only other thing I wanted to say was identifying the epics, writing the stories, and identifying epics, writing the stories, and even the task to some degree doesn't have to be localized just to me and Scott only. I would really like if ever Anuja would jump in and help us out with that, since you do have a lot of experience there. But at the same time, we want to get that done as quickly as possible. So we want to just make sure we knock it out. So if we could keep it central to just those few people so we can just knock that out really fast, I think we can get to the point where we're ready for a hackathon much faster.
Yeah, exactly. And also just one more detail, on the top right, you see my name. And so if you want to know, for example, this website provide this API or not, just boring stuff like asking questions, and if you want to know answer to something, some resource that you want to find out, you can ask me, and then I will go out and do that for you while you focus on the main task at your hand. So everybody can stay focused while I go do the other boring bits, So so that's the whole structure. I'm not sure if everybody will agree, but that's my idea of how we should move forward.
Well, my only question really would be, it's Ryan that's running, right? I'm terrible with names, I'm sorry. I would need access to Ryan quite a bit because from my understanding, we threw a lot of ideas out there. There was a lot of head nodding, a lot of, ooh, yeah, maybe this, maybe that. But I still don't have a clear vision. I'm sorry, I still don't have a clear understanding of his vision about
but
what does this final product look like when he closes his eyes and says, what are people going to be able to do with this? I've got a lot of maybes, but that's all.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's two parts to that. There is what he envisioned. Remember, we were just talking about vision planning versus what is the NPV, right? And I think we all have a solid understanding of what the NPV is, right? If not,
not necessarily, because we need to define what the goals are. I mean, we understand what some of the minimum goals are, which is being able to donate, being able to direct people for donating blood. And really that's bare minimum right there. That doesn't even include recruiting other people, things like that. But
that is what an MVP is, the bare minimum. That's all an MVP is. That doesn't say that's the final product or even version 1. That's the MVP.
Right. It's just that.
So do you want to have direct?
I agree. Yeah, I agree. We do need to have a vision planning session to get a full scope of what this app will be in its like public phase, but it doesn't. I think we still are in a good place to start building an MVP. Does that make sense? We don't need to know the final vision to start the MVP because we have enough information now to start that.
I mean, we can define what the end vision is during our way moving forward. We can that image becomes more clearer and clearer.
See, Shelley, this is one of my pitfalls with self-taught. Please translate this into actual proper terms. But when you sit down and have a session and you plot out must-have versus want versus lust items. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know what those are actually called in software planning type.
Right. So, that could be it depends on at what level you're doing it. If you're doing it with the person who is actually envisioning what this product will be, then that's more vision planning, right? If you're doing it with the developer, that person, and maybe somebody from your quality group, which we don't have.
I'm sorry, you know what? No, you want to bet? Look 5 to my left. Sorry, my girlfriend is a quality assurance engineer for Gojo. They make all the Purell products.
That's just your sprint planning. Sprint planning and story grooming session. So I think from what you're talking about, you're really talking about vision planning.
Probably, yeah.
Something beyond this sprint or that sprint or the next sprint, but what is like your version 1 looks like, not your MVP, but your version 1, your version 2, your version 3, or what are all those nice to haves and ideas are.
So, yeah, and I think of it as like a fan going out. It's just, this is what we need. This is what we want. This is what, oh my God, but we'll probably never get.
And during the vision planning, I don't think you really need to make those decisions first off. You just need to identify what you want.
No, and by the way, we're not making this app for Ryan. We're making this app to raise the awareness. And what Ryan is in this project is to provide the inside information, and also uses and he can use his network to get the app up in the air to gain traction.
So are we looking at building this more as a framework that can be taken into other places, or are we going to build this and then kind of reverse engineer it to try and figure out how to adapt it to other places? Because if we design it from the ground up to be adaptable, then that might actually be a lot easier. Then we don't have to worry so much about what Ryan personally wants as
Yes.
far as building an app that can.
I just don't think we need to make that decision right now. I think we need to get his wants and needs done first and then expand upon that. We can iterate through.
Yes.
We don't have to have a framework for this huge application with multiple different campaigns and different charities to start with. We can start with just the simplest thing we can do and build from there.
Yeah, so
Just to create something people could donate with.
And then build on it from there.
Which means the back end to the donation sites, et cetera.
Yeah.
So I just had a question. So are we focusing on leukemia and cancer, or are we expanding it to like an app for charities as a whole? Because I remember Scott was mentioning that.
Right. So for this MVP, we're focusing just on leukemia and lymphoma.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lymphoma. Okay. Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. The next iteration will expand, and 4 iterations ago from now will expand.
Yes.
I think we just need to get something. And it's good that you guys are asking those questions, because I guess it's the best way to understand what is the difference between a waterfall application, development, and agile. Waterfall will be, we sit here and we plan this huge application that reaches multiple different charities, multiple campaigners, different ways of donating, and we just plan and plan and plan and plan and plan. Agile is, what do we need to do? What's the minimum thing we need to do? We need to be able to donate blood and accept money. Okay. The next thing we need to do is have campaigns. The next thing we need to do is have different campaigners. The next thing we do is broaden it from this particular type of charity to a different type of charity, or to make it generic enough that it can be adaptable to different charities. And all of those next and next and next are different iterations.
So I also had a question. Would it be possible for us, and especially for Brendan and Ryan, to go out and look for existing apps and examine features that they like about those existing apps that we could just combine?
There is an app that is similar to what we do, or exactly what we're doing, but because it was so poorly done, they shut it down.
Okay.
So, and it was the app from LLC Society itself. So they shut it down because it was almost inoperable.
Okay.
Was there anything salvageable from it?
Is there any way to get a hold of the code?
I don't know. That is something that I can ask Ryan. Do you want me to ask him about that?
Actually, it's not so much. Don't even
The
really.
code, just
want to be able to look at
app
it.
flow. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I want to see the UI. What were they trying to do with it from a user standpoint? Because if they liked what it was supposed to do, but just not
Right, but we don't want to copy from an app that doesn't work, right?
No.
It doesn't work for a reason.
Yep.
So we don't want to copy junk.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is, did it not work because it was poorly implemented, or did it not work because the app? It's one thing to have an app in your hands that looks like it's going to do exactly what you want, and then when you go to use it, it smokes.
Yeah.
It's a different thing to have an app that you hold in your hand, and it's like, this is useless.
Yeah.
So if it looked like something they want, then that could be a good thing to get a look at. Otherwise, just trash can.
Yeah, I agree. Like, definitely looking at as many examples as possible is a good thing.
I think looking at Brandon's Christmas tree makes me happy.
I
Hey,
agree.
well, before we all go, especially Shelley and Magnag,
We're beyond our time block, by the way, by about 6 minutes.
I'm doing the Sunshine on the databases, Sunshine app. My unit tests are smoking, but I don't think it's my file.
We can talk about it. It's not. Yep, we'll talk about it after this. It's not you. Promise.
Right. Thank you.
Yep, I actually posted it on the forums.
I'll go look. Well, Yeah.
So when he comes back and can give me control, I'm gonna just do a really quick walkthrough of how to add stories to the features in this software. And then anyone who wants a one-on-one, just ping me. Not tonight, but ping me, and then I will give you a one-on-one. I'm around all day tomorrow. Wait a minute. It's the last Saturday of the month tomorrow, right? Yeah, I'm around all day tomorrow. So more than happy to help. So can I share my?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, because I think we only really have 5 minutes left on the meeting as well.
No, I'm actually going to upgrade my account, so continue.
Okay. I feel like I bought my account for nothing then. Like I bought an account and nobody uses it.
Or maybe I can, maybe we can change it to yours if you want.
Okay, yeah.
Oh wait, but
like I bought it for a year, so I want to use it.
Oh, okay. So are you able to record it and then upload onto? Well, how are we gonna do the sharing thing?
We'll talk about it offline. We really only have 5 minutes, so.
Okay.
And I can do this in 5 minutes. I
okay,
can just, just absorb it and know that if we need help, if you need help later, I can do one-on-ones. And Anusha, I know you're having problems logging in, so if you'd like to get with me right after this, then we can get there. Okay, so I'll take another one. Let's take the reward system, just because I was walking through this one with Brendan. So these are all the features. We need to make those features into user stories. And I don't know why it didn't click with me the other night, but hold on. Let me move this over out of the way. You need to split. This is an epic story. If you look at it, it's an epic story. Well, you can't execute on an epic story. It implies that there's more to it, right? An epic always has more to it, and you need to break it up into smaller parts, what I've been talking about, right? So this has a feature where you can actually split your epic story into smaller user stories. And it by default tells you, gives you the option of splitting it into 2 different stories, right? But you can split it into many different stories, right? We're just gonna go with 2 for now, just because I see the clock going 3 minutes. If you see anything that says value or effort, just put a 1. I can explain what that is later. It's basically a project estimation tool to estimate how much is this story worth and how much effort it takes. We really don't care. It needs to get done. Just estimate it at 1. That's fine. But it has to have a value. So let's say this is the reward system. And as part of doing a reward system, we're going to say online badges is part of the online badges. It's part of the reward system. And again, that's not really a story, it's a title, but we fill in I'll type right, and we'll fill in the actual stories there, and we'll say let's just split it. So now this feature has 2 user stories, and if you go back to this reward system user story, it's no longer an epic, it is actually a user story, right? And you also have a user story online badge associated with that rewards epic. So now you have a user story. He's gonna interrupt me. Go ahead.
Oh wait, just one question. So only user stories is sprintable, right?
Only user stories can be planned for a sprint.
Okay.
Yep, was getting to that next. So
sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. So we have the user stories, right? Then we can start our planning. Actually, let me go back to that features, because you also need to make sure that your user stories are at least estimated. And as you can see, right now they're suggested stories. The next steps that you do is accept the story. And we can talk about Scrum ceremonies later, but just know that it has to be in an estimated phase. So accept it, estimate it, right? And this is, again, estimating the effort. Before, we estimated the value. This time, we're going to estimate the effort. This would mean that, as a developer, I'm saying it's going to take effort of 1 or effort of 5, whatever that effort is. It needs to have an estimate to it before you can plan it for a sprint. So, and I'm going to run out in less than a minute. So you guys want to come back?
Yes.
Okay.
So which
Yep.
one do we want to use?
Brendan.
We'll stick with my one first.
Yeah, just with his.
Okay. Thanks.